I am not going to pretend for a single second that I haven't been exactly where you are right now. The sleepless nights, the heavy guilt when you skip your quiet time, that feeling that you are praying but the words are just hitting the ceiling and falling back down as dust. That is spiritual burnout, and it is absolutely real. My name is Echo of Grace, and I am here not as a distant teacher, but as a friend who cried in the dark, thinking God had misplaced my address. We are often taught that the answer to feeling distant is to try harder, to pray longer, to read faster. But when you are exhausted, that advice just feels like another heavy chain. But what if the strength you seek is found not in frantically rowing your boat against the storm, but in dropping a specific, measurable anchor? We are going to talk about the 9-minute prayer formula. It is simple, it is rooted in ancient wisdom, and it instantly cuts through the noise that causes spiritual exhaustion. This isn't about giving God a laundry list of demands. This is about finding refuge. This is about finally docking your storm-tossed soul in the harbor of peace. If you are tired of running, stay with me, because we are going to learn how to stop the frantic pace right now. The mistake we make is confusing religious activity with genuine presence. We think if we spend an hour on our knees, God is impressed. But many times, that hour is filled with noise, distraction, and self-condemnation. God doesn't want your performance. He desperately wants your presence. Before we set the timer for 9 minutes, we must understand the foundational key, the reason this whole formula works, and it comes straight from Isaiah 30:15. Listen to this promise. In quietness and trust is your strength. We try to find strength in noise, in scrolling, in arguing, in planning every detail of tomorrow. God says strength is found in stillness. This stillness, my friend, is the first critical minute of our formula.
Think of it like this. Your mind is a washing machine full of dirty, spinning clothes. You cannot hear the voice of the Father over the roar of the machine. The first minute, minute 1, is the stop button. This is the hardest minute for people who are struggling with burnout, because silence often feels like a void. When I first started practicing this, I felt the immediate urge to check my phone, to plan my dinner, to worry about my finances. I know that internal chaos. I wrestled with it for years. But this minute is dedicated solely to stillness. You don't ask for anything. You don't confess anything. You simply sit, close your eyes, and repeat this phrase internally. I am here. You are here. That's it. It's a declaration of mutual presence. It is the moment you drop the anchor. If thoughts rush in, and they will, don't fight them. Just gently acknowledge them and return to the breath, returning to the simple statement, I am here. You are here. You are training your soul to stop thrashing in the water and simply float. Listen closely now. Are you truly letting that sink in, or are you already thinking about the next point? Stop. Breathe. If you rush this first minute, the entire formula collapses. You must commit to the quietness that unlocks the strength promised in Isaiah. This brings us directly to the second minute, which is just as vital, but shifts the focus entirely. Once the boat is secured, even slightly, we can move from the external chaos to the internal reality of our soul. This is where we begin to move away from the pain of exhaustion and towards the healing power of gratitude. We call minute 2 the minute of radical thanks. When we are burned out, our vision is narrowed only to our problems, our failures, and our overwhelming to-do lists. It's like looking at the world through a tiny, dirty keyhole. Gratitude is the spiritual lens cleaner. It forces your perspective to widen.
And here's the secret to this minute. You are not listing the big, obvious things. You are listing the tiny, almost embarrassing things. I am talking about thanking God for the hot water in the shower, for the coffee that actually tasted good this morning, for the ability to take a deep, non-painful breath. I remember when I was at my lowest point, I couldn't thank God for my future or my calling because those felt too distant and painful. So I thanked Him for the fact that my dog was still happy to see me. That small, genuine thankfulness was the first crack of light in my spiritual darkness. This minute of radical thanks forces humility and presence. It breaks the cycle of focusing only on what is missing. It is the moment you acknowledge that even in the middle of the storm, the boat hasn't sunk. You are shifting your energy, your chi, your vital life force from scarcity to sufficiency. And this leads us to the biggest trap most Christians fall into when they feel tired, which we must address at minute 3. We often try to carry the weight of the world, thinking that our faith means we must be strong enough to handle everything. But strength comes when we finally admit our complete and utter helplessness. We often confuse faith with performance. We think being a committed person of faith means having all the answers, never getting tired, and certainly never breaking down. I used to operate exactly like that. I remember nights where I felt so utterly ashamed of my weakness, thinking, if I just pray harder, if I just do more service, God will finally give me the strength to handle this. But all that striving and doing just made me heavier. It was like I was trying to steer the boat through a Category 5 hurricane without admitting that the sails were completely torn and the engine was dead.
I know what it's like to feel that deep, gut-wrenching shame when you can't keep going, when you look at your life and think you're failing everyone, including God. I felt like God forgot my address completely, like the mail stopped coming. Minute 3 of this 9-minute formula is the hardest, but it is also the most freeing step. It's the minute of radical honesty and surrender. You stop talking completely. You stop trying to fix it or analyze it. You just sit there in the quiet and you name the 3 heaviest weights you are carrying right now. Not asking for a solution yet, not demanding a miracle, just acknowledging the burden. This is where you actually start to live out that core promise in Isaiah 30:15. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Quietness first. You are admitting clearly and without apology, I can't handle this. Now that you've named those burdens, the crushing anxiety about money, the broken relationship with your child, the overwhelming fear about your future, we move into minute 4, the exchange. This isn't a minute of begging or bargaining. It is a transaction of trust. If you are sitting, I want you to literally imagine taking those 3 things you just named and placing them outside of your physical space, or placing them outside of your boat. You are not throwing them overboard to sink. You are placing them directly into the hands of the captain. When I finally learned to do this, I realized I had been paddling frantically against the current for years, refusing to let the captain take the wheel because I thought my effort was what mattered. The true exhaustion wasn't from the storm itself. It was from my own desperate, controlling grip on the rudder. You are physically and spiritually transferring the weight. You are saying, this is too heavy for me, and I trust you to hold it, even if I don't see how you will fix it yet.
This brings us to a crucial pivot in the formula, minute 5. We've thanked him, we've admitted our weakness, and we've handed over the burdens. But the human mind is tricky. It immediately tries to grab those burdens back. It whispers, are you sure he heard you? Maybe you should worry just a little bit more, just in case. The only way to stop that exhausting loop is to anchor your mind to something solid, something immutable. Listen closely right now. Are you truly absorbing this, or are you already thinking about what email you need to write later? Stop. Breathe. Minute 5 is the anchor minute. You don't need to read a whole chapter of the Bible. You need one single verse, one specific promise that feels like a life raft right now. For me, when I was completely burned out and felt utterly useless, it was often simple words from Paul. My grace is sufficient for you. That's it. You take that one promise and you repeat it slowly, 6 times. Not as a meaningless mantra, but as a deliberate declaration of truth over the chaos you just surrendered. You are fixing your gaze not on the size of the waves crashing around your boat, but on the unshakable nature of the one who holds the entire sea in his hands. This stops the spiritual burnout instantly because it interrupts the pattern of self-reliance and replaces it with divine reliance, which is the only true source of rest. And once the mind is anchored, we move into minute 6, which is about reclaiming the spiritual space that fear had stolen. When we are spiritually drained, we often stop listening. We think prayer is only about us talking. But the next step is the crucial step of expectation, and it is almost always missed by those suffering from burnout because they are too tired to expect anything good. This is the moment we shift from giving him our weakness to receiving his strength for the journey ahead.
Minute 6 is the minute of expectation. This is where you deliberately wait for direction. Burnout tells you to run, to rush, to hide. Expectation tells you to pause and receive. You are not asking him to solve the entire year for you, but you are asking for the next single step. The next piece of wood you need to patch the hole in the boat. You quiet your heart and you simply ask, what is the single most important thing I need to do right now, today, to honor you? Maybe the answer is simply rest. Maybe it's call your mother. Maybe it's forgive that person. The key is that you are waiting for a specific, actionable instruction, not a vague feeling. This is the difference between aimless worry and directed purpose. This intentional waiting is transformative because it forces you to acknowledge that the captain is not silent, but that you have been too loud to hear him. This is where the confidence mentioned in Isaiah 30:15 truly kicks in. You are moving from the quietness of surrender to the confidence of knowing you are being led. This confidence is what refuels the soul. It makes the next step possible, even when the horizon looks dark. This confidence is the fuel that spiritual burnout desperately tries to steal from us, making us feel like we are walking alone in the desert. But we are never walking alone. That knowledge brings us to minute 7, which is the minute of radical alignment. We've done the internal work, the thanks, the surrender, the anchoring, the listening. Now we must prepare to act, but not in our own strength. We must align our will with the will of the captain. This is a subtle but powerful shift. It is the moment you stop praying for your desire to be fulfilled and start praying for the strength to accept his plan, whatever it may be. I know how much it hurts to let go of your perfect picture of how things should be.
I cried when I finally surrendered my own career ambitions, realizing they were crushing me rather than fulfilling me. It felt like dying to myself, and it was. The alignment prayer is simple. Use me, Lord. You are essentially saying, my boat is broken, but it is yours. Where do you want to sail it next? This shifts your perspective from being the victim of the storm to being a participant in a divine mission. It takes the focus off through comfort and places it firmly on the purpose he has for you, even in the struggle. This is the ultimate antidote to spiritual exhaustion, because true purpose is the only thing that genuinely energizes the human spirit. When you know you are where you are supposed to be, even if it's hard, the burden lightens. This leaves us with the final 2 minutes, which are the minutes of sealing the prayer and preparing to move forward, and these are often rushed or skipped entirely. Minute 8 is the minute of preventative gratitude. We already thanked him for what we have in minute 1. Now we thank him for what we will receive. This isn't just wishful thinking, it is an act of faith that confirms the surrender we made earlier. You are thanking him for the strength you haven't yet felt, for the solution you haven't yet seen, and for the peace that you know is coming because he promised it. This is how you seal the transaction. You thank him for the provision before it arrives. This preventative gratitude acts like a spiritual shield. It pushes back against the anxiety that tries to creep in the moment you stand up from prayer. It tells your soul, the matter is settled, the captain is in control. It reinforces the confidence that was established when you anchored your heart to his promise. It transforms hope from a fragile wish into a solid expectation.
And finally, we arrive at minute 9, the minute of physical preparation. We cannot separate the spiritual from the physical. If you are spiritually burned out, your body is also exhausted. Minute 9 is the commitment to a physical act of self-care. It might be drinking a full glass of water, stretching your neck, or simply walking outside for 60 seconds to feel the sun. You are honoring the temple. You are telling your body that the rest you just received spiritually is now going to manifest physically. This small commitment ensures that the peace you found in the stillness doesn't evaporate the moment you step back into the chaos of the day. This final practical step is the lock on the door, ensuring the spiritual rest you found in those 9 minutes stays with you until the next time you need to drop your anchor. The commitment to physical self-care, the act of honoring the temple, ensures that the peace you just received spiritually is now going to manifest physically and stay with you. This is not just a nice idea. It is the final, practical step that locks the spiritual rest inside, preventing it from evaporating the moment you step back into the chaos of the day. Now that we have walked through the 9 minutes, maybe a voice inside you is already whispering doubt. You might be thinking, is that it? God needs more than 9 minutes of my time. I know that feeling intimately. I have sat there, watching the clock, feeling a deep, heavy guilt because I didn't hit the arbitrary 30-minute or 60-minute mark that someone else told me was required. But we need to remember the core truth of this entire process, which is the key from Isaiah 30:15. This formula is not about the clock. It is about the posture of the heart.
The enemy loves to use spiritual metrics, the length of your prayer, the number of chapters you read, to make you feel like a failure, ensuring you stay in burnout. But the verse says, "In quietness and confidence shall be your strength." It doesn't say, "In striving and performance shall be your strength." The 9 minutes are enough because they give you permission to stop striving and start resting. They are the training wheels that teach your soul how to drop anchor in the middle of a storm. This formula is not a spiritual checklist you tick off and forget about until the next crisis. It is your emergency brake, your lifeline back to the harbor of peace. And here is the profound secret I learned the hard way that keeps the burnout from returning. Consistency beats intensity every single time. Listen closely now. If you try to pray for an hour every day and fail after 3 days because it's unsustainable, you have done infinitely less for your soul than the person who commits to 9 minutes every single day for a month, regardless of how busy they are. The 9 minutes are your promise to yourself and to God that you will intentionally choose stillness. And the beauty of stillness is that it multiplies. That quietness you cultivated in minute 3, that focused gratitude in minute 5, that physical commitment in minute 9, they don't just stop when the timer goes off. They spill over into your work, your parenting, your relationships. They transform the quality of your day. You see, spiritual burnout isn't just a lack of prayer. It's the belief that you have to carry the entire weight of the world on your shoulders and that God is just waiting for you to exhaust yourself trying. I remember when I was so burned out, I couldn't even whisper a single word of prayer. I felt abandoned. I felt like God required a strength and a focus I simply didn't possess anymore. I cried myself to sleep many nights, feeling like a spiritual failure because I couldn't keep up the pace.
But those 9 minutes, that intentional stillness, showed me something revolutionary. My strength isn't the requirement for prayer. My willingness to rest is. My exhaustion is the invitation for Him to step in. That is the true power hidden in Isaiah 30:15. When you stop striving, you start trusting. And in that quiet confidence, you find the strength to face anything. If you have been struggling under the weight of burnout, feeling like your prayer life is one more item on a crushing to-do list, please understand this. God is not looking for your performance. He is looking for your presence. He wants you to drop your heavy burdens and find refuge in the harbor of stillness for just 9 minutes. If this message spoke to your weary soul today, I want you to do 3 things immediately. First, commit to trying these 9 minutes tomorrow morning. Don't worry about perfection, just try the sequence. Second, please don't go through this journey of finding peace alone. We are building a community of people dedicated to stillness and rest. Hit the subscribe button right now so we can continue sharing these profound truths together. And finally, I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below, which minute of this formula, the stillness, the gratitude, or the commitment, feels like the biggest relief to your soul right now. Sharing your intention helps lock in the commitment. Thank you for letting me share this space with you. May your soul find the deep, quiet rest it deserves today.